Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Rowena Harry, and I'm the Senior Subscription Specialist here at Microsol Resources. And with me today is also my colleague, AEC Applications Specialist, Joseph Freund. And he's going to be co-presenting more technical material on today's Autodesk transition to named user. For today's presentation, we're going to start with a brief introduction to named user, and we're going to follow up with a timeline on Autodesk's recent changes and discuss the benefits, the details, and eligibility requirements to trade into named user, along with benefits, details, and eligibility requirements to adding premium plan, subscription, or any Autodesk industry collection. Now, my colleague Joseph, he's going to cover in a bit more detail the benefits of Autodesk industry collections, along with collaboration through BIM 360 design, and then he's going to share the technical workflows that are needed to complete the required steps following a transition to named user. I'm then going to chime back in briefly, recapping the specific paths forward, because it's a lot of information to take in initially. And then we're going to conclude with a Q&A. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to type them in at any point in the chat box, and then we'll address them directly following this presentation. While Autodesk does have plans to lose your number, literally, it's being replaced with plans based on people, and they're hoping that helps to improve the administrator and the end user experience. What Autodesk is hoping is when you go from a mixed bag approach to everybody being on named user, they're going to lock some benefits that include the opportunity to optimize licensing costs, increasing productivity, and reducing IT costs and burden. From visibility into usage data to dedicated access for each user, including remote access, without the need for home use licenses anymore or tracking serial numbers for compliance. We're going to get into the expanded capabilities and more relevant user experience that Autodesk offers with named user, because 75% of customers today, like you, have already adopted named user as a model. And these trade-in offers Autodesk came out with is to help 25% more transition over if possible. So I'll mention that if you have subscriptions with single user access type, then you essentially already have named user licenses. But with Autodesk's transition to exclusively providing their software under the named user model, it's hoping that it will be the foundation for a more relevant and personal learning, collaboration, and support experience over time. So let's review the timeline of the changes and the offers to transition for those who have Autodesk products that are eligible. So as of February of this year, Autodesk began retiring subscriptions with multi-user access and renewal of perpetual licenses on maintenance plans, along with extra territory rights, and they did this in a phased approach. To help customers on retiring models transition to named user, new trade-in offers became available, and that was starting August 7th. The date was kind of pushed back due to COVID-19, but there's a lot of benefits in named user that ended up working very well in remote environments, so it stuck with August 7th of this year. Now, all trade-in offers will default to a named user subscription on a standard plan. And at time of trade-in, before or later, customers can choose to upgrade to a newly introduced premium plan, which became available as of June 7th of this year. Among the benefits of premium plan is centralized purchasing, which includes extra territory rights. So extra territory rights was discontinued, and then it was put into this premium plan. Now we're going to go over the details, the benefits, and the eligibility requirements of premium plan in a future slide or two. I'll also note for eligible maintenance or multi-user subscriptions of individual products such as Revit, AutoCAD, or Civil 3D, including multi-user subscriptions that are a result from a prior move from perpetual on maintenance to subscription, widely referred to as M2S. The transition to named user provides an opportunity to upgrade those individual products to an Autodesk industry collection, and you'll receive, or you will continue to receive, ongoing discounts of renewal until year 2028. And there always is an ability to save more upfront and over time when subscribing or renewing for a 3-year term. Now, it's important to note that the specific path and trade-in offer a customer is eligible for is dependent on the product type being traded in. So if you have any of these product types, you qualify for trade-in to named user at your first renewal. So let's go over these. Number one, and you can have a combination of this, I should say. So let's go over each of these. Number one, if you have a standalone maintenance plan at your next renewal before May 7th, 2021, you can trade in one license for one subscription at a similar price to 2019 maintenance plan renewal. And then you can renew at an ongoing discount until your 2028 of no more than 5% increase every other year. Two, if you have a network maintenance plan, you also at your next renewal before May 7, 2021, can trade in one license, but for two subscriptions for one named user each, and also at a cost consistent with your 2019 maintenance plan renewal. And you also can renew at an ongoing discount to your 2028 of no more than 5% increase every other year. And three, if you're already on subscription, whether it's a multi-user subscription purchased at full price, or if it was a discounted purchase through this move to subscription M2S offer, at your first renewal, you can trade in one subscription for two subscriptions for one named user each at a cost consistent with what you would be paying today to renew that one multi-user subscription. And you'll also get to renew at an ongoing discount to your 2028 of no more than 5% every other year. I want to mention that there's a lot of folks out there that have multi-user subscriptions on contracts that are multi-year, expiring in late 2021 or even in years 2022 and 2023. Rest assured, you'll still qualify for a 2-for-1 trade-in with the ongoing discounted renewal pricing structure until your 2028 at your first renewal. And I also need to mention that Autodesk is allowing multi-user subscriptions that are currently on an annual term to renew for an additional annual term before losing the option altogether next time around. Now, for regular subscriptions, that means the only option, if you decide to forego a trade-in now, would be purchasing a new subscription to named user next year. And for subscriptions that are a result of the move to subscription offer, if you do not take a 2-for-1 trade-in this time around when your renewal time comes up, whenever that might be, your first renewal time, then the next time around, your trade-in is going to be reduced from a 2-for-1 to a 1-for-1 ratio. So if there's a reason why anybody would still consider renewing a multi-user subscription versus trading in, we would like to talk about it because we'd like to see if there's a solution we can offer so you can benefit from a 2-for-1 trade-in or a 1-for-1 trade-in for the maintenance plan standalone at a discounted renewal price, which is only available by taking the trade-in at your first renewal. Before moving on, I just want to reiterate that these three paths have three things in common. One, the trade-in offer reflected here is at your first renewal. Two, the trade-in costs are comparable to what you would be paying to renew your existing product today. And it also results in an ongoing discount renewal pricing of no more than 5% and only in odd years every other year until year 2028. And three, trade-in allows for eligible individual products to upgrade to an eligible Autodesk industry collection. So now I would like to detail some of the eligibility requirements for these discontinued products we just went over to transition to named user. So while consolidation of various contracts and anniversary dates has become generally possible, for trade-in, a full annual or 3-year term is an Autodesk requirement at this time. Another requirement is that the going-to product must be available in a single user access type to be eligible. And the vast majority of these products are available in single user access type. There are just a number of them that are not, and for those, you would just continue to renew your multi-user subscription at this point. A very important requirement is that all named user subscriptions are required to be on a supported version, which is current version plus 3 back. The current version today for Autodesk software is version 2021, which means a named user is supported in versions 2021 down to 2018. But that will change as newer releases come out. So it's important to know that named user will require current version plus 3 versions back. Now, Microsol Resources, we're here to assist you and make any recommendations or help with your considerations regarding upgrading to a supported version. And we'd like to have these discussions with you as soon as possible. So if you have an issue with the requirement that named user be on current version plus 3 back, and you have a renewal that's coming up soon where a trade-in is going to apply to you, let's talk about it. Another requirement is that you would need to ensure that you or your users are able to connect online at a minimum every 30 days. And that's because Autodesk runs a license check in the background to ensure that the subscription is still active. And an internet connection is required for this validation to occur. Also, being connected online will allow you to gather usage data, which can't be gathered offline. And we'll go into the benefits of usage data shortly. And finally, you'll need to complete the steps required to transition to named user within 30 days after your current contract anniversary date. And my colleague and co-presenter Joseph will be covering these steps in just a bit. And lastly, please consider your options at time of trade-in, including the benefits of going with a 3-year term, upgrading to an Autodesk Industry Collection, or adding premium plan. Now let's drill down a bit further, starting with the benefits of named user for IT and administrators. When everyone is a named user, the benefits unlocked include the ability to make smarter decisions based on usage data, help to optimize purchasing, improve productivity, and provide support or training where needed. Another benefit is increased productivity when all users have a dedicated access to a software and the products they need whenever they need it. And also, it reduces IT costs and the burden behind that. When licenses are hosted by Autodesk and assigned to named users, there's no need to manage network servers or track serial numbers for compliance. And users, again, get the access to the licenses they need wherever they are working. Autodesk responded to some feedback about management overhead and improved the experience to make it easier to manage these users' licenses by removing the pain points of multiple deployment types and serial numbers. Now, there's also some benefits to working remotely, which so many of us find ourselves in today, and those managing remote users. You'll gain things like accessibility. Every named user, there's no need to request home use licenses anymore or take up time trying to gain access to the network server to check out a license. You'll also get virtualization because the named user model automatically includes support for virtual desktops as well as installation on up to 3 devices, whether those devices are local or virtual. And you'll get collaboration benefits with customers already taking advantage, as you indicated you did during the poll question. Data management and collaboration in the cloud across teams, across projects, with products like BIM 360 and Fusion 360. And for end users, Autodesk is really hoping and planning that it's the start of a more relevant user experience. From highlighting personal achievements to insights on your collaboration habits, Autodesk plans to expand all of these capabilities with in-application tooltips that are based on your command usage data. And they're hoping that they're going to provide more of this over many of their products over time. So in addition to named user, Autodesk came out with premium plan subscription. And this was after they received feedback from many customers, those who manage larger numbers of users, indicating that they need some more advanced administrative support and security features than what is currently being offered with your subscriptions under the default standard plan. And here are some of the challenges that they cited, right? So let's look at some of these, right? They have many users, 50 plus subscriptions, and it's been very time consuming for them to actually manually create and assign access to each user. They want some more secure product access, preferring their users to log in using their company ID and password. They really require support response times that greatly minimize downtime. They've been having trouble identifying users that actually use what products. So at renewal time or new purchasing, it's kind of hard for them to optimize. And they have employees, subsidiaries, and contractors that are based globally, and they would prefer to be a direct purchaser for all of them. So Autodesk's newest plan, Premium, it's meant to address these larger businesses that are requiring these more advanced tools. So let's compare these two plans side by side to consider if the features in the Premium plan might work better for you. All right, so let's look at this here. All right, so the standard plan includes two-step verification for more secure user access. They added bulk import for fast user creation. They're going to provide product usage reporting to view and export product usage by product or version, and it's going to be at an aggregate level. You have 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, Autodesk voice support for administrators, and you have global travel rights. So Premium includes all of these benefits of standards, but it also has single sign-on. So admins no longer need to manually create and assign access to each user. Employees can authenticate and sign into any product or Autodesk experience using their company credentials. And if a user is no longer an employee, they lose their access, which improves security. Now, in the future, Autodesk will extend SSO to Active Directory. In addition to by product usage, Premium includes user-level reporting. So you'll have the ability to view, export product usage with user details by each individual user. And it's going to allow admins to tie product usage as well as frequency back to an individual user or a team level, which offers the opportunity at purchasing or renewal time to optimize. And also, Premium plan, you can leverage the included technical support provided by us here at Microsol Resources to all our customers with Autodesk voice support, which is going to be 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you can get your issues resolved even quicker and users back up and running. And I'll also mention that there's this centralized purchasing benefit that is tied to Premium. And that covers the extra territory rights that were discontinued on August 7th. And it also allows a parent company to be the purchaser and buy for its direct employees, contractors, and such based globally. Now, I figure I've thrown a couple of terms out, and some of them you're familiar with, and some of them might have thrown you. So let me cover that before we go a little further. Now, contract manager is likely a familiar one, whose role still entails contract and renewal management. But Autodesk created some additional admin roles so that they can help with subscription and user management. A team is a group of users and subscriptions. So you can use teams to organize subscriptions and users according to company divisions or projects. And you can delegate admins to manage specific teams of users, to track renewals back to users, and to analyze seat usage by team. It's important to note that team setup and the modification of teams, it does currently require Autodesk involvement with admins creating a support case when changes need to be made. But I'm thinking this is going to eventually become more self-service. Now, the contract admin, which we mostly are all familiar with, is going to default to the primary admin with named user. And you can have as many secondary admins as you need, and a secondary admin is similar to a software coordinator. That's another role that existed prior to named user, and secondary admin is going to have very similar privileges to the primary admin, which is managing subscriptions, user access, viewing and exporting usage data, accessing support and downloads and things of that nature. And the roles for Premium plan include single sign-on, So single sign-on is the only premium plan feature that is managed at the domain level. So there's this SSO admin, and they'll be the ones that manage single sign-on for all users under an email domain. And finally, simply put, a domain name or just a domain is the name of a website. And I'll mention that premium plan customers, Autodesk is aware, may have multiple domains, and that's absolutely fine. So let me just mention some of the eligibility requirements in case you're interested in adding the benefits obtained by purchasing premium plan subscription. Premium plans available now. It came out on June 7th of this year. There is a minimum of 50 eligible name user subscriptions required to add premium plan. And premium plan can be added if at least one contract has a remaining term length of at least 12 months. And right now, premium will be sold on a separate contract for an annual term. All right, and premium is sold at the primary administrator level. And since the primary admin can purchase premium for all teams they manage, having a single primary admin for your company, though it's not required, would make it easier for you to purchase for your entire company with that centralized purchasing. And lastly here, and just as importantly, Autodesk and Microsol resources will work very closely with you to assist you with the required steps and the onboarding process should you be interested in premium. Now, as paths to name user opportunities include upgrading, my colleague Joseph is going to review some key benefits of Autodesk Industry Collections, which are available in these following 3 industry categories. The Architecture, Engineering, and Construction Collection, which is a comprehensive BIM package. It includes Revit, AutoCAD, and Civil 3D. And it's made for like the building, civil infrastructure, and construction industries. And then there is the Product and Design Collection. It's one essential package, and it covers engineering tools for product and factory design. And its primary products are Inventor Professional, AutoCAD, Navisworks Manage. It also has Fusion 360. And finally, the Media and Entertainment Collection, which is a 3D animation tool set for visual effects artists, also game developers, and it includes Maya and 3ds Max. Now, before I hand this over to Joseph, let me just go over the eligibility requirements for those that are interested in considering the addition of an Autodesk Industry Collection. Alrighty, so if you currently have individual products such as AutoCAD, Revit, Civil 3D, 3ds Max, and your product is either a perpetual on maintenance or an M2S multi-user subscription, so like a network subscription, that's a result from that move from perpetual that we refer to as M2S. At renewal time, you can trade into named user for an Autodesk Industry Collection. So you can take that AutoCAD or that Revit and you can move it to one of those industry collections at time of trade-in, at your renewal time. All right, so if you currently have active subscriptions, now you just have subscriptions, whether they're multi-user or named user of individual products such as AutoCAD, Revit, Civil, Max. You can upgrade to an Autodesk Industry Collection during your contract term. Now, I do have a little fine print here that I just added where I say for multi-user subscriptions, it would need to be on an annual contract with a remaining term length of less than 12 months. And that's because policies supersede policies, right? So if you're interested, don't let this bog you down. Talk to us about it and we can let you know how to make it happen. And also, if you just simply need an Autodesk Industry Collection at any point, you can purchase a new one or you can add additional ones in a named user model, single user access. And it can be prorated onto an existing contract or co-termed to an existing contract end date or purchased under a new separate contract. And as always, you can save more upfront and you can save more over time if you subscribe or you renew for a 3-year term, which includes the benefits of a multi-year discount and locking in the current rate for a 3-year term. Now, I'll be back for a quick recap on the trade-in and the path forward and also be available for Q&A But for now, I'm going to pass the remainder of today's presentation over to my colleague, Joseph.
Thank you, Rowena. Before I get into the technical aspects of this transition, I just want to cover a little bit more on the industry collections here. So the Architecture, Engineering, and Construction Collection, commonly referred to as the AEC Collection, has all of the tools architects, engineers, and builders need to be prepared for anything. Whereas the suites were specific to buildings or infrastructure, the AEC Collection empowers multidisciplinary coordination across building and infrastructure teams with integrated workflows such as building design, civil structure design, site development, transit station, and track layout. Available exclusively with the AEC Collection is generative design, which allows architects and designers to quickly produce design alternatives based on defined goals and constraints. You also get a conceptual design using Format Pro, which enables early stage design concept sketching in 3D and connects with InfraWorks and Revit for design development and documentation. Design automation with Dynamo speeds design delivery by automating repetitive tasks in Revit and Civil 3D. And finally, the collection allows teams to access all AutoCAD vertical products, including Plant 3D, Architecture, MEP, the mobile, and web app. Now on to the Product Design and Manufacturing Industry Collection, commonly referred to as the PD&M Collection. This helps you design, validate, document, and manufacture your products in the most efficient way. Advanced simulation will help you fully understand your design. You can look at fatigue failures, including thermal effects, and check for excessive vibration. InventorCAM simplifies your machining workflow and provides 2.5 to 5 axis milling, turning, and mill turn capabilities. Inventor nesting helps you reduce raw material weights. You can quickly generate multiple outcomes and compare them for the best possible cost savings. Inventor tolerance analysis works right inside of Inventor. You can be confident that your assembly will go together without spending too much time and money on unnecessary machining operations on your parts. With the collection, you can also achieve system-level design. You can plan, design, validate, and build efficient industrial equipment or factory layouts. And finally, just like with the AEC Collection, all AutoCAD verticals are available for you from mechanical, architectural, electrical, MEP, and more. And finally, there's the Media and Entertainment Collection, commonly referred to as the M&E Collection. This is a set of 3D content creation software that enables creative studios working in film, TV, and games to scale up their rendering and simulation capabilities. You can create stunning renderings with Monte Carlo ray tracing in Arnold, and you can build guided liquid simulations in Bifrost. The M&E Collection provides visual artists with the 3D tools that they need, like Maya and 3ds Max, and it helps studios hire artists more flexibly by easily providing those artists with the access to more creative tools and through the simplified and straightforward software deployment. Now, with the AEC Collection, you get a rich set of software and innovative technologies to help you design, engineer, and construct higher quality, more predictable building and civil infrastructure projects. With access to this robust set of tools in the AEC Collection, designers are equipped to tackle any task. This is really the Swiss Army knife of architectural and engineering design. Now, pair any of these industry collections with BIM 360 design, and users will have access to software and project data anytime, anywhere. BIM 360 design enables real-time design collaboration and document management in Revit, Civil 3D, and AutoCAD Plant 3D. More than just a cloud repository, team members can work collaboratively at any time from anywhere with an internet connection, regardless of location or discipline. Firms that had implemented BIM 360 design going into the first quarter of 2020 did not skip a beat when staff needed to work remotely. And this tool continues to provide flexibility so that team members can access important drawings, issues, RFIs, or transmittals from anywhere. Now, please note, BIM 360 design is an add-on product. It just pairs incredibly well with each of these industry collections. Here is a list of new features and enhancements in Revit 2021, for instance. We have generative design, which is a new feature available exclusively with the AEC collection. Now you can quickly generate design alternatives based on your goals, constraints, and inputs to give you higher performing options for data-driven decision making. Autodesk will continue to dynamically introduce these benefits with some that are exclusive to industry collections. BIM 360 Design, formerly known as Collaboration for Revit, is a tremendous add-on to the industry collections, giving team members access to the single source of truth from anywhere. Autodesk has multidisciplinary companies from around the globe using BIM 360 Design to collaborate on their projects today. Now, this is a real map of usage from earlier this year. Remote work due to COVID-19 impact has increased these statistics exponentially. Now on to the technical part of the presentation. For those of you that are contract managers or primary or secondary admins in your organization's Autodesk account, this is the part you will want to pay close attention. This transition to named user will happen essentially in 4 steps. Step 1 will be to invite users to the Autodesk account. Step 2, you will assign these users to subscription products within this account. Step 3 will be to switch the licensing mode from network or standalone to named user. And then the last step will just be to make sure that users are aware of this change and they know that there is a new sign-in process to activate their software. The specifics of going through each of these steps will depend on the combinations of products that your company has or will have, but I'll try to demonstrate this transition so that it is applicable to everyone. Note, if you upgrade early, you can start with steps 1 and 2 at any time. Then in that 30-day window, you can proceed to steps 3 and 4. That it's not all needs to be done at once. So additionally, you may be able to accomplish steps 1 and 2 in a single action if you assign by product in the Autodesk account. Now let me show you how this is done. You'll log into manage.autodesk.com, and contract managers and admins will see a user management section in the navigation pane. By going to Buy Product, the available software will be listed. When a product is selected, you can view all of the existing assignments or assign more users. Even if no users have been invited, you can enter their first name, last name, and email to both invite them to the account and assign them the product. We've developed a tool where you can paste users' names and emails, but there's also an option to import via CSV. Assigning by product is a quick way to bulk invite, add users in one fell swoop. Now keep in mind, until the users accept the email invitation, which involves clicking a link and then setting up a password, they will show as pending in the account. Upon accepting, the user status will change to active. Now, once users have been invited and assigned, changing the licensing mode can be done manually or with a command line tool. Here I will demonstrate the manual switch in AutoCAD 2021. First, open a new drawing and then go to the drop-down in the upper right corner with the Autodesk ID. Then go down to Manage License. From here, the current licensing and activation info will be displayed. Now, if you click Change License Type, you will have the option to change to a different licensing mode. In this case, it's showing Switch User because I was already logged in, but for many other users, they will see Sign in with your Autodesk ID. The user will then be prompted to restart the software, upon which they will automatically be set up with their named user account. Now, for more complicated circumstances, Autodesk has developed a command line tool to assist administrators, which can be run manually or with, for example, a batch file that runs on each machine at startup. Now, step 1 in this process is to download the licensing tool from Autodesk, and we'll provide the link in the chat box here. So step 1, let's see, my video wasn't starting here. There we go. So yeah, step 1 is to download the licensing tool. Once you download this, you'll need to extract all of the files with that are part of this tool to your local machine or a network drive. In this case, I'm choosing the location C/Autodesk/scripts. So I'm just going to go ahead and extract that into my folder here. And we'll just open this up to show the licensing tool there, ADSK licensing support tool. Now I'm going to open a command prompt as administrator. And then I'm going to change the directory to that folder. And I'm going to do that with the command cd and then the directory location. So this will take me right to that folder, so I have access to all of the files in that folder. Now, step 4 will be to pass arguments into the command line per the instructions in that knowledge base article, the place that you downloaded the tool. Now, in this case, I'm going to reset all of the software that I have installed on this machine to named user. So I'm going to go ahead and type in the name of the tool, which is ADSK Licensing Support Tool. And then because I want to reset, I'm going to type in space -R, and then I'm going to reset all to user, so all : user. Now it'll show me a little report of what happens when this tool is run. And as you can see, most of my software was already set to named user, but if it wasn't, it would say has been switched from network to user, and so you should have a full report of what it accomplished after it is run. So it's a very important piece, and you can create a log file that dumps all of this into a network location. So let's go to the next slide here. And finally, the final step is for users to sign into the software with their Autodesk ID when they open the product. So if they just installed the software and they're opening it for the first time, they'll typically see this Let's Get Started screen, in which case they would choose Sign in with your Autodesk ID. And as long as they've already been assigned the products, they've set up a password, they'll just need to sign in and they'll have access to their products. It may be helpful to let your users know about the Autodesk desktop app so that they can keep their software updated. So this is a very good app to introduce to them. And if they sign in to this application, it'll sign in across all of their other products installed on that machine. So I just want to go over these steps real quick. Step 1 will be to add users in the Autodesk account. Step 2, you're going to assign products to users. And as I mentioned before, both of those can be done in one step if you go by product and then do a batch add. Step 3 will be to switch the licensing mode for all software affected. That can be done manually or through the command line tool. And like I said, if you have 10 or 50 plus users in your organization, then the use of the command line tool will significantly reduce the time that you need to switch. And then finally, the users will just need to sign in to each of their products to activate them. Now, as I mentioned, if they sign in through the desktop app, that will sign them in everywhere else, and they won't need to continually sign into every product they open up. So it's kind of a nice central location to just sign in there, and it will handle all of their licensing. Now, there are a lot of great resources out there to help you with this transition, and Microsol Resources is here to help make this transition as smooth as possible. We have a blog post of the top 10 resources for Autodesk subscriptions, which includes information on software reporting, the ROI estimator, this transition to named user, this command line tool that I mentioned, as well as resources on premium plans and future roadmaps. So feel free to check out our blog and website for more information. Now I'm going to hand this back to Rowena to finish things out.
Thanks so much, Joseph. Before we proceed with the Q&A portion, I'm just going to walk you through these specific paths because I know it was maybe a lot. So let's look at this together. If you have an upcoming renewal of a standalone or a network maintenance, or both, expiring on or after August 7th of 2020, right? You have the opportunity to, if you have a standalone maintenance, trade in at your first renewal, one standalone license for one named user subscription, which will default to a standard plan. And if you meet the eligibility requirements to purchase premium plan, you can feel free to go ahead and upgrade to a premium plan, which currently costs $300 per named user subscription annually. If you have a network maintenance, you can trade in at your first renewal for one network license to go to two named user subscriptions. And again, it will default to a standard plan. And if you meet the eligibility requirements and you would like to purchase premium plan, you also can go ahead and do that. And let me mention that if you have maintenance, your trade-in is going to be at a similar price point than if you were, able to renew your maintenance today. And upon that trade-in, you're going to receive that ongoing discounted pricing structure for renewal until year 2028. And finally, if you have a multi-user subscription, and that includes if your subscription is coming from a prior move to subscription where you went from perpetual and moved on over to subscription already. So if you have a multi-user subscription, including M2S, expiring on or after August 7th, you have the opportunity to go ahead and trade in at your first renewal your multi-user or your network license for two named user subscriptions on a standard plan. And if you are interested in premium plan and you meet those eligibility requirements, you can go ahead and add that on at that time or even before that time, or as long as you've got 50 eligible or more named user and you're interested in talking about premium plan, you're entitled to go ahead and consider adding that on. And again, also for you, discounted renewal pricing structure until year 2028 for all multi-user subscriptions that are trading into named user. And if you have an individual product, as I mentioned before, if you've got AutoCAD and this trade-in is up for you right now, you can take an AutoCAD, a 3ds Max, a Civil, a Revit, and move that on over to an Autodesk Industry Collection. And you're going to get that trade-in cost, and you're going to get that long-term pricing structure for your renewal. So it's something that I definitely recommend you considering. All right, I think that we're going to wrap it up now and ask you guys if you have any questions.
Yes, we have a few questions that have come in so far, so I'll just pick them from the list here, and then we'll try and knock them out. So first question here is from Nick. He's asking, when we renew and perform the trade-in, can we downgrade from an industry collection multi-user to a standalone named user?
All right, so I'll let you know that at this time, and this probably isn't news to most folks, there is no downgradability. The path to go from your trade-in opportunity will be an upward path, or of course it can be, a path that is horizontal. So you can take an AutoCAD and go to an AutoCAD, but you can't take an AEC collection or any collection and go down to an AutoCAD.
Okay, thank you. Another question here from Lloyd. Is my single user switched from maintenance considered standalone maintenance?
Okay, is your single user that already was switched from maintenance considered standalone maintenance? So Lloyd,
Correct.
I'd probably like to talk a little more about that because I understand these terminologies get used and reused a bit by Autodesk. So I feel like standalone is a perpetual term. It is not a subscription term. Single user is a subscription term. So I can't see how you went to a single user standalone, but I will say, if you've got a single user subscription right now, then you're already on named user. But we can talk more about this to make sure that I'm getting it right and giving you the right information.
Okay, thank you. I have another question here from Robert. What happens if you do not access the software in 30 days and therefore do not validate subscription? I can go ahead and take this one. So when you connect to the internet and you have activated your instance of AutoCAD, you will connect with Autodesk servers and it will perform the licensing handshake, okay? But if you're disconnected from the internet, a clock will begin, which will start to tick down 30 days. So at the end of that 30 days, very similar to a network license when you borrow the license, it will start that 30-day clock, and at the end of those 30 days, it will tell you that there has been a licensing error, and you'll just need to reconnect with the internet in order to reactivate, to extend that another 30 days. Okay, let's go down here to another question. I have one from Alex here. What if I have a multi-user subscription and our renewal isn't until 2023? Do we upgrade to named user now or until 2023? Or do we do this transition in 2023 and pay to make this change?
All right, so that's a great question, and I will say that if you have that subscription of multi-user coming up well into the future, at your first renewal, which is well into the future, you're going to qualify for a 2-for-1 trade-in. And that is what we are going to recommend, that you take a 2-for-1 trade-in at your first renewal, because otherwise it would just be dropping off the grid. You're going to qualify for the same best price, discounted through 2028 renewal pricing at your first trade-in, even if it's in 2022, 2023.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. And we have another question here from Alex. Will there no longer be a network license server that we host our licenses on? And is that discontinued so that our licenses will now be managed exclusively online?
Yeah, so this is a transition, right? Folks still have a mixed bag. Folks still have network licenses. So at a time where you trade in all of your current Autodesk network or multi-user licenses, you will no longer need to manage them with your server. What you do with your server, my more learned colleague probably has some suggestions, but it will not be managing Autodesk software. It will be managed by Autodesk, and everyone will have access as a user to their own software.
Correct. And assignments can be, entitlements can be granted or rescinded at any time. So if there's a new hire, you can easily provide them access to software. If there's a termination, then you can unassign those licenses just as easily. Additionally, there are a lot of reporting features in the transition to named user. Previously, you would have had to install something like JTB Flex Report to understand usage on your network. Now, all of this will be included in the new Autodesk account. Okay, let's proceed here. We're at about 12:54 right now, so we have time for a few more questions. Let's see here. Okay, I've got a question here from Patrick. In the following year, when your multi-user comes up for renewal, will it be renewed as one user or two users, price-wise? When you upgrade to AEC Suite, is the renewal more expensive? Whoop, something just changed on my screen here. Sorry about that.
That's okay, but I can feel some of Patrick's inquiry there. So
okay,
Patrick,
thank you.
I'm speaking generally, but this, I think it's pretty specific as well, but I always like to talk to customers about their unique circumstances. But I can say that if you have multi-user and it's coming up for renewal, let's say, ballpark figures here, you've got an AEC industry collection and it is a product that was moved from perpetual, so you've already got some discounted pricing and you're paying like about, let's say, $1,200, right? When you come up, you can possibly renew for, $1,200, which we do not recommend. We do not recommend losing your 2-for-1 trade-in and renewing just to forego a trade-in at 2-for-1 next time around. But if you do trade in, which is our recommendation, you're going to get 2 named user subscriptions for that one multi-user. And instead of paying, let's say, that $1,200, you'll be paying $600 each. So BOGO kind of thing.
Okay,
and you'll get that discount. Yeah, the renewal discounted, right? You're not losing any of your discounted renewal. If you have it, you're keeping it, right? 5% increase maximum till your 2028. If you didn't have it before, you're getting it now with this trade-in. 5% increase maximum till your 2028, every odd year.
Okay, great. I have another question here. One from Hugh. What happens to information when the cloud is down or inaccessible? I can answer this one. You can always check the website health.autodesk.com to see if there are, if any servers are currently under maintenance or are currently down. But otherwise, if you're having any issue with your account, if you're a customer of Microsol Resources, you can just feel free to reach out to us and we will help to try to resolve that. Otherwise, you can contact Autodesk support. And sometimes we see that an account just needs to be resynchronized. And so they'll just initiate that and that should be it. Okay, let's see. Question here. Let's see, from Brendan. When assigning users to an AEC license, is one license for one person, or because there are multiple programs, can multiple users use one AEC license? I can field this one as well. Yes, it will be one user assigned to one seat of the AEC collection. So that will give that user the ability to access all of the installation files for all of the products within the AEC collection, but it's just for a single user to access. Okay, let's see here. Here's a question from Bruce. If I keep my perpetual license, do I need to connect to the Autodesk servers every 30 days to keep software usable?
So if you have a perpetual license right now and you are then opting to kind of drop off the grid because you're not taking a trade-in opportunity while it's available, your perpetual license will still work. It works out of the box. It doesn't need to be connected to the internet to use the latest version that you have registered on one workstation, right? So perpetual software that's dropped off the grid and hasn't been upgraded, you can use that one single version on one single workstation.
Okay. Let's see here. All right, we're running, we're just about to the top of the hour, but we have a lot of questions coming in, so we'll field questions for another 5 minutes or so, and then we'll probably end the Q&A portion. Let's see here. Is there any downtime in switching to these licenses?
Well, we'd like to avoid downtime by helping you when it comes to transitioning. So you have a 30-day window from the time you take the transition and your contract that currently, the old contract expires to getting on board with the new named user model. And we're here. We help all our customers individually with this, and you can always reach out to us if you need additional assistance with that to avoid that downtime.
Okay, great, thank you. Now, Julie is asking, can you talk a bit more about sharing a license among a few users with teams? I can
Sure.
cover this one.
Thank you. Right.
So in this case, the licenses would not be shared among users. So in the named user system, every user needs to be assigned access to a product in order to gain that access. So there's no floating pool of licenses, similar to the way it is set up with the network licenses, where once the user opens the program, it'll pull the license. It's no longer like that. So ahead of time, each user will need to be assigned the products that they need access to, and then they will show it within the account. The Teams feature within the account allows for better reporting and understanding how within a team how everybody is using the different software.
Joseph, I'm going to chime in here too with Julie's question to mention that yes, absolutely everything Joseph said is correct. But Autodesk does recognize that this transition to named user is happening around COVID-19 and in and around of it. And while ideally you're going to want to budget for a one user, one named user model, Autodesk is allowing reassignment of named users as needed. So if you're in a position where a trade-in of a 2-for-1 doesn't quite meet your needs and you haven't the budget, or you're just not ready to do that additional investment, you can reassign users within Autodesk account as needed. It's very, very simple, and the update takes minutes. So sometimes with Teams, you might have a team that you create so that users are able to reassign these subscriptions to each other to cover your bases and stay compliant. So I'm absolutely happy to speak with anybody, Julie, yourself, or anybody else on this call that has a need for that, an immediate need for that.
Okay, thank you. One additional question here from Christopher. Is there a way to install the updates from the app if local admin is not available? Now, this is a case where it will depend on the structure within your own company and whether your username has permissions to install updates. There are settings within the Autodesk desktop app where you can determine whether updates are automatically installed or manually installed. Just for me personally, I prefer to track every update manually, particularly with Revit, when you want to make sure all team members are on the exact same build when work sharing. So that's a case where I do like the manual aspect, but I do check the Autodesk desktop app frequently to see if there are any security updates or licensing updates that may be required to give me access to the software. Okay, so I think we're just about ready to wrap up here. Do you see any additional questions you'd like to field at this time, Rowena, from the any remaining questions?
I always give it a once over, so I am going to look at everybody's questions. We're going to keep a copy of them, and I will reply back to any questions that I didn't feel like either I confused everybody over a few things or I didn't address fully. So we will look at that and we'll respond individually. And as Annalisa said, please don't hesitate to email us at info@microsolresources.com if you think of any other questions that you would like answered. I want to also let you all know, please consider following us on social media. And thanks so much for joining us today. We appreciate you taking the time, and we're here if you need us, so don't hesitate to reach out. We'll share this recording on our resources landing page and our YouTube channel. And thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.